Welcome to another episode of Her Life on Purpose, the podcast. This is probably one of the most random podcasts you have ever seen. But listen, these are the thoughts of someone that is in their 30s. So if you're 30 and beyond and you may have the same thoughts and you may feel like this is something that you need to listen to, you're in the right space. Today, we are going to be talking about social media. But before we talk about that and how random this is, I decided, hey, it's 2025. Put the camera up, turn the mic on, and say what you got to say. Okay, so if you're in that same spot of, 30s and thinking it all has to be prim and proper and all of that good stuff, it probably can be, but it also cannot be. So we are talking about social media, and this was really on my heart because I have been on social media as a millennial for a while. So we have kind of seen social media just evolve into really this something that could be very ugly and nasty and just and everybody has opinions, kind of like I'm on here doing I have an opinion. But everybody does not have constructive criticism. And I was listening to another podcast one day, and they were saying how they were on online, and they seen somebody say, "You are literally in." It's like being social media is kind of like being in class with, the person that has that was in another class that would maybe learn more differently than you. All of those people who don't learn on the same level as you are on social media. All of those people who got sent to the principal's office are on social media. All of those people who made straight A's, or you may have just been, coasting by, whatever person that you went to school with, whatever level that they were on, whatever level that you are on, everybody is not at your level, and everybody is on social media. So you have people that are racist. You have people that literally think differently than you. You have people that are manipulative. All of these people on social media together sharing thoughts and opinions, and you're reading them, and it's so exhausting, especially when social media is now a job that is becoming more respected. So you're on this and you're building your business, and it's the fastest way to reach people in your business. Side note, okay, let me tell you, because I be on the threads. Side note, if you have a business and your address is not in the profile of your business, I'm clicking off. If you have a business and you have a restaurant or whatever, and your food is not on your business page, and you got your daughter or whoever, graduating from school on your page, I'm clicking off. I'm not coming. Okay. That's just a side note. But anyway, back to social media. So everybody is literally on social media. And y'all, I'm a little fancy for y'all. I wrote my notes down, everything I wanted to talk about today. But listen, I was following from the very beginning. All your OG YouTubers, all of your OG, social media personalities, and everybody gets so mad when they start to draw back and not share their life the way that they used to. But you have to think about, you have millions or thousands of people coming to your page and critiquing your life. That is exhausting, no matter how much of a thick skin you have. And think about when, especially if you're a millennial, because we were kind of like the turning point of this social media stuff. Like I said, we have seen social media grow. Our parents, they got on, and you're like, they mostly stick to Facebook. A couple people evolving, but when you think of your parents, they're mostly on Facebook and things like that. But the bulk of social media, millennials have been able to see it kind of start and how it changes over the years. So these OG YouTubers and social media influencers and things like that, they start to draw back because now you have built a relationship with them, but you have to think about how exhausting it is on a day-to-day basis to hear somebody critique your life. And let me tell you, I be on social media getting highly annoyed for these people. And that's kind of, what has kind of put a stop to the thought process of me even wanting to grow. Like, I have been able to capitalize on social media without having the largest following, honestly. I mean, you can't do it. That's a whole nother subject in itself. You think you have to have millions of followers to capitalize on social media? You absolutely do not. You just have to have some type of influence, and you have to know how to meet people and how to grind on social media, period. Okay. I could sit here and talk to you for days about how you can make thousands of dollars on social media and not have a large following. And I'm not going to sell you a course. This is how you do it. You grind, you hustle, you email, you pitch yourself, and you pitch your value. You're going to get a lot of no's, but you're also going to get yeses. Also, number two, go out and meet people. Everybody, there's more than one way to skin a cat. So everybody is going to be able, some people are going to be able to get on social media and they are going to be able to just have people flow to them and give them offers and things like that. And then there's some people that pitch themselves and they're going to have to pitch. And then there's some people, which the number two thing is to get out there and meet people, because the bulk of, for me, the way that I got a lot of my deals, brand deals and things like that is by getting out and meeting people. It's by the relationships that I have built. It's by going to conferences and meeting these brands one-on-one in person and following up with emails, getting contacts and things like that. You can get a contact on LinkedIn. You can get a contact on most of these businesses' websites. And then you pitch yourself and you pitch your portfolio. That's it. You're going to buy a course, and that's basically what it is. But when you start to kind of get down to the nitty gritty of it, it's kind of like, well, how do I get the contacts? I just told you, get on their websites. And a lot of businesses have these websites. There are more strategic ways to get contacts of people who are in, marketing and things like that. That's what you have to, you also have to know and also have to find out as well. But anyway, so the evolution of social media has become so toxic to where you either have people oversharing and just really trying to, build a thick skin and not read the comments, or you have people drawing back. And the fact that people think that they have so much like ownership over people's lives and their information is wild to me. And for example, one of the OGs, Jackie Aina, a lot of people have been following her life for so long, but she is one of the most prevalent people that comes up in my mind as someone who has put a hard boundary into the way that she shares her information, and people still having just the unction to feel like they need more from her. But she's one of the people that, I see, because I do follow her, that just put that hard boundary. I mean, a hard stop, to where, she's whipping people into shape on the way that they treat her. They come to her platform, and treat the information that she is giving out. Now, I'm sure she has people that still kind of trickle in and test the boundaries and everything like that. But then I see someone like Nabella, who has put some type of boundaries, but they're not as hard as maybe Jackie's is. And when I tell you, they are in this young woman's comments and chastising her and judging and just being ugly and nasty and mean and, disrespectful and just so judgmental to the way that this young woman has decided to present her life to the world, because you can't judge somebody on the way that they present their life. Here's why. Not on social media, because there's so many people living different lives that are giving you this information, and there's so many people that can relate to somebody in some way or be inspired by somebody in some way doing something, that people that come to this particular page or this particular influencer and put a hard judgment on, why are you doing it this way? Why are you so maybe flashy, or why are you acting so wealthy, or why are you, like, that is a direct projection. I mean, a direct, because anybody that comes to that content and that may live a similar lifestyle and are inspired by, hey, I like the way that she styled her living room, or, I like her story and how she became a mother, and how she evolved as a woman and in a marriage and things like that. Those people who are directly inspired by that will be inspired. But if you come to these people's pages, okay, and critique them in a way because you're not living that life, that is toxic, and it's kind of sick. I'm just saying, it's kind of sick. It really is, because being in my 30s and having the mindset that I have, which is everybody is different. If I don't agree with it, then it's not for me. And I can learn from people, and whatever I can't learn from people, I leave it where it is and I keep moving. I really don't understand why people don't grasp that type of thought process. And I can't make everybody think the way that I think. I realize that. But I know that it is so frustrating to have people come and judge the way that you're living. There's going to be people who view my content or view what I say, and they're not going to agree. And that's fine. And you can give constructive criticism. You can say that you don't agree. You can say what your viewpoint is without being mean, nasty, and disrespectful. We are living in a time where when I go on social media, I get so exhausted because, especially politically. Now, for me, I am not the person that's going to go on social media and argue with anybody about politics. Okay. Because being able to hear somebody's tone and words and being able to really just thoughtfully get your opinion off on politics and actually writing that down. And then, listening to a video and you have commenters. Like, if I'm going to have a conversation about politics, I'm going to have a conversation with somebody I can personally, who's in front of me, go back and forth. And you hear what I'm saying, I'm hearing what you're saying, and listening and things like that. That's how I choose to talk politically. Just having a real sound conversation. There are people who are made to just say what they feel online, type it out, or put a video out, and they can just, kind of wipe their hands of it. I don't see many people like that. I don't see many people who can wipe their hands, because you're going to have follow-up video after follow-up video after follow-up video, and that's just exhausting. Okay. So my point is, social media has become very exhausting, very toxic, and it seems like it's going in a direction to be even more toxic, So if you have children, I really just, for me, hold my kids off on actually having a social media. They are on, you kind of, if your child is on internet and they are older, it's kind of hard to completely get around them not seeing certain things, like just completely, because they're either watching a video somewhere. YouTube has the videos. YouTube kind of operates like TikTok, or you know what. So it's kind of hard, but for them actually having a profile on their own to be open and judged or criticized, because that's what it is. It's a big place to criticize. It's a big place to give your opinion and all of that. So I challenge you, first of all, to limit social media. And I have been, for me, limiting the amount of times I am on social media, because it has, just full transparency, become some type of addiction to where you would rather pick up your phone and see what's going on rather than, just doing anything else that's not on your phone, So when you're in line, it's so customary to just be like, if you're in line in a grocery store, to be like, oh, let me scroll my phone, rather than just stand there, be present, look around, because that's boring. Okay. It's boring. We figured out that it's boring now to us. And you think about, oh, what did I used to do, standing in line, especially, like being younger as a kid or whatever. And I say that millennials really haven't had like that big of a stretch, because if we didn't have social media, we probably were kids and younger and everything. So what do we do as kids and teenagers? We really haven't experienced social media as adults, like life without it as adults. So that's kind of our story. That's, part of our life. But I was just thinking, like, what did I used to do? Like, what was I doing in line? You twiddling with something, you reading the magazines and things like that. And you can read books on your phone as well, but it is so tempting to just click off of that and click onto something else. It's just more streamlined if you have an actual book, actual pages. Now, the one thing that I ain't never thought I was going to do, that I really enjoy, is having my Bible on my phone. And I was the person for the longest time that was like, I need the pages. I feel like OG, like I feel like, just growing up in the church, old school church. That's what it is. Old school church, and having my Bible. It has to be blasphemy not to have an actual Bible in my hand. But I have really been enjoying, the way that the Bible app, like I can highlight notes and all that stuff. Other than that, I am a writer though. But a writer as in, I can't, this is, y'all, I be getting sidetracked, but I can't have like my calendar and everything, or, well, not my calendar, but like notes and stuff. I can't do it in my phone electronically and like actually check it off. My attention just don't flow that way. I have to write it down. I like to write it down and actually check it off on like a piece of paper. Anyway, that's besides the point. But I can read my Bible online now. And I was thinking to myself, because I do have the actual pages. And the thing about it is, I can flip through different versions online just like that. Whereas a Bible, the actual, hard pages or whatever, you have, if you want different versions, you got the actual thing. So it just seemed like it became more easier for me, anyway. So, I do like my Bible, on my phone. I don't know. I just feel like, the old folks will be like, that's crazy. And they probably would be. Just having your phone having your Bible on your phone. That's crazy. Yeah, so I want to know, how are y'all treating social media in your 30s now? Like, how y'all treating it? How is it evolved? How is it changing? Do you feel like it is weighing on your mental? Like, seriously, because comparison on social media, you can be comparing yourself and don't even know it. You can be like you don't understand how much you consume. You may understand but how much you consume information on a day-to-day basis, and like you just banking all that information. So then then it starts to influence your day-to-day life, and you don't even realize it. You don't even realize it. Like, okay, for example, I was on social media one day, and I'm a matcha girl. I love matcha. I love the way that it makes my body feel. It's a different thing. I do love matcha. It's an acquired taste for some people, but you get a matcha made the way you like it made, and want it to taste. You can like matcha. But anyway, besides point, I like matcha, so I'm a matcha girly. And so when you're on TikTok and you're scrolling and everything, and they have, you watch one matcha video, TikTok is like, oh, you like matcha? Here's 5 million videos about matcha, how to make it, where it came from, how you should do this and do that. And so I started to realize that I was looking for this specific glass to put my matcha in because it was like the thing. But I really looked at the glass. It's a what is it? Weck? I think that's how you pronounce it. It's just this random, glass, and I think they use sourdough. I mean, use it for sourdough starters and things like that if you make bread. But it's just a specific like jar that you could put your matcha in. And I was like, ooh, that's cute. I want to do it. And the jar is like $40. And I was like, if you know me, no. But then I was like, okay, well, maybe I can find an equivalent to it. So they were like, this store has it. Maybe you could find it here. Maybe you could look on Amazon. Maybe you could do. So I was looking around for this glass. And before I knew it, I was looking for this very basic glass just to drink the matcha out of. Now, I done seen 500 million cute glasses that I can put my matcha in just because, that's what I want to do. And I do collect certain glasses. But it wasn't that important to have this basic behind glass that I thought was basic. I mean, you may not think it's basic, but I thought it was a basic glass. So I was just like, I have been influenced to look for this glass, to buy this glass. And I just really, and it happened just like that. And that's a lot of what happens on social media. You get influenced, and now, what is on my eye? Oh, eyelash. And you get influenced, and now you want to buy this certain house because of this, and you want your house to look like this because of this. And there's nothing, let me tell you something, there is nothing wrong with being influenced to do a thing a certain way if that's really truly what you want. But I would challenge you just to, if you see something on social media and that's what you want, or you feel when it starts to really weigh on you and it makes you feel bad because you don't have it or you can't attain it, that's when it becomes a problem. If you feel like my life is not measuring up because I don't have this, that's when it starts to like become on the dark side of influence and not something that you just want to do just because you want to do it. Or, you might see something expensive and be like, oh, I can make that cheaper. I can do this cheaper. That's different. But when you start to feel bad because you don't have that thing and it's weighing on you, it has now become something that is toxic. And that's what social media like does, especially in your 30s. Like, we are going through I feel like 30s are like this big transitional time. Like, honestly, it's like this realization time for real. Like, you start to really realize stuff. Your eyes start to open. When you're in your 20s, you kind of, not everybody, but a lot of people in your 20s, you kind of just bopping around, bopping around. 30s, it's kind of like, ooh, life is a little real. Okay. Things are a little, your eyes start to open up a little bit, So I have no clue what 40s will be like, but I do know just this path of 30s, and that's what we're going to talk more about. So if you're interested, definitely continue to follow me. Listen, that's the end of this podcast. You know what I'm saying? Do the thing. Do the thing today. You were looking for a sign. You were wanting somebody to tell you to do the thing. Do the thing. Okay? Whatever that thing is, do it. Just like I did today. pulled out this camera and was like, I'm going to do a podcast episode. I'm going to upload it. And that's going to be that. And it's going to be all about social media, because that's what I've been on lately. And it's just very toxic. So if you're a toxic person on social media, please don't do that. You may think you're only one person, but you are one of millions and one of thousands that's looking and commenting on, other people's platforms. I have no idea why people get on social media and just be downright mean and nasty. And if you make a comment to be nasty and you're coming from a toxic place and you're comparing somebody or looking at your life and you're like, you don't need to have that. You don't need to do that. You don't need to, have that, because I don't have it. And you may not think that's why you're saying it, but it really is. Okay. And that's the biggest thing when it comes to life online, is people looking at people who have more or different and looking at themselves and projecting and saying you shouldn't do your life the way that you're doing it. Now, does that sound smart? You should not do your life the way that you are choosing to do it. That is crazy. You can have an opinion, okay? But to be just downright, when I look at comments sometimes, and I try not to look at other people's comments, but there you go. I mean, it's now become a thing that, that's what you do. You go to the comments sometimes and, so I want to challenge myself as well to have a better experience on social media if I'm going to be on there, because I really just want to be like, I don't want y'all to know nothing. And I know that's how people, with bigger names and bigger influence think. Like, I don't want you to know nothing, but I kind of want to be on here because there's so much business and money on social media. And if you can get it, get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your life. Okay, we are all playing the game of life. And we're all trying to feed ourselves or our families. And social media, because there's millions of people in one place, you can literally log on and reach so many people. There's money there. And before I leave, let me tell y'all something. I remember the moment, kind of, not the moment, but I remember the space and time where I started to see actual celebrities actually commenting back. Like, I remember thinking like, wow, this celebrity is really online and you can really like talk to them. When Instagram really was like popping up, I remember that. I thought, because I would see celebrities get upset about certain things and they would reply, and I was like, oh my gosh. Like, why would you reply to just regular people and get upset? And like, celebrities were like getting in trouble, not in trouble, but like, we're going to use trouble for lack of a better word, but they were kind of like getting into things because they were replying and getting upset back to people who are commenting. I remember this time because celebrities weren't as accessible. Like, you couldn't just like talk to them. But they were really like responding on Instagram, and like, I remember that turning point. I just thought it was the weirdest thing. But now you have access to them, and a lot of them have, they have moderators. Some people still comment. Some, you're on social media, you see them getting upset all the time. So anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you for joining me on Her Life on Purpose, the podcast, where we talk about all things 30s and beyond. Okay. I am a Black woman living my life in my 30s, and I want you to know the experience and let me know your experience and see if we experiencing the same thing. And because I just really feel like people don't really be talking about the traumas of 30s and the good things. It's not all trauma, but the good things that happen or the things that happen in your 30s. I just really feel like it's such a transitional period. I really do. So anyway, follow me on social media, Her Life on Purpose, everywhere. Everywhere, Her Life on Purpose. Okay. Y'all have the most amazing, amazing, amazing day. And do what you feel. Do the things. All right. I'll talk to you later. Bye.